Hello everyone, it's that time again. It's Sunday, you know what that means. Time for another confessions video. That's right, this is confessions number 52, still part 4. Hello everyone, I'm the host of these confessions videos. My name is Mr. Ozzy Neil Rose. I hope everyone had a great 4th of July and I hope you got to celebrate it with your family and friends. As for me, I had a great time. And I hope you're enjoying your Sunday night as well. As you know, in the confessions videos, we kind of go back into my past, as I call it, the archives of my past. This is not going to be any different. I remember when my sister passed away. I won't name her husband's name, but I already knew he was using, meth. He was, they call it bumping today, running up his arms. I caught him a couple of times before my sister ever passed, but I promised I wouldn't say nothing to nobody, and I didn't. But the minute she died, I couldn't deal with it because I wasn't there with her when she died. I missed her death by about 4 hours, 5 hours, something like that. So I immediately went to where he was at, and I told him, I said, man, get me high. And so he did, And I remember that first high that I got, and he had ice, which is the strongest form of meth. I had him run it up my arm, and I did. I'd never had a needle stuck in my arm ever. That shows you how desperate I was. I could not deal. The depression had hit me so bad that I missed her death by 4 or 5 hours. I just couldn't live with it. So I said, is that a clean needle? And he said, yeah. He said, I'll get it out package for you. And he did in front of me, and he shot me. Well, I remember what it was instant hotness. I mean, I was just extremely hot, like I was on fire. Then, right followed that was the nausea. I didn't throw up, but man, oh God, it was the worst case of nausea feeling I'd ever had. Then the high kicked in, and I thought, man, this is great. I thought, talking about taking away the feeling of who I just lost, but it didn't take away the feeling. It just kind of helped numb it a little bit, if you know what I mean. And I was with him for 3 days, and that's all we done. Was get high on the shit. Well, us old timers call the shit. Then when I left and went back to my apartment in Truman, I stopped at the liquor store and started on the 100 proof schnapps. Had some meth on me, took some meth back home with me, and kind of locked myself up in the apartment, was getting high and drinking, and I know what the high was like with both. I was having the high of the meth, yeah, but the alcohol was kind of just making me a little more wound up. Even though I wasn't acting wound up, it made me a little more wound up, and it helped keep me awake. It didn't knock me out of sleep, but the meth was, making me go up. It would make me feel like, with the schnapps, it made me feel like I was getting, I don't know how to explain it, more hyped up. But what it was doing, it was really leveling me out. I was kind of mellowed out, even though I felt like I could run. And today's meth in Arkansas is just full of fentanyl and MDA. There's not hardly any pseudoephedrine, But it still keeps you awake. It still winds you up. And with the schnapps, it made me feel a little bit more anxious, but it leveled me out. I felt mellow, even though I was a little bit more anxious. I don't know if I can make you understand that or not. I hope I can. But I thought that was going to be the answer to my prayers. I couldn't live with life on life's terms anymore, but I couldn't deal with death on death's terms anymore. I just didn't know how to deal. I never did. I never knew how to deal. I know how to deal with things now, but I didn't then. And I thought the high and the drink would do the dealing for me, and it didn't. It would numb it, but at times, but that's all it would do. It wouldn't knock it out. Then eventually, I was able to put that behind me. All, her death, depression, everything in my life, sad, I put behind me. But then my body was just living for the drug and the drink. Then, I left out of my apartment, as y'all know, in past confessions video. Walked 13.5 miles straight to Paragould. I stopped at the liquor store in Truman on the way out of town. But when I got to Paragould, rented me a motel. The next day I got up, went to Labor Day Park, met me a couple of dealers, went back to using again. still drinking, you know, so, uh, but that's how my body was. Yeah, I put everything mentally ill behind me, emotionally illness behind me. But by that time, I was just living for the drug and the drink, you know, and that's what happens to you over time. You think when something bad happens in your life that drinking will suppress that. No, alcohol is a depressant. It will make you more depressed. Some drugs may bring you up, but you find out with them over time that they don't take care of your depression either. Then after that, you finally realize you're just living for the drug and the drink, and that's what I was doing. Yeah, it was true. I put everything behind me. I got physically in shape to do the strutting. I was in the greatest physical shape of my life. I was in the greatest mental shape, emotional state that I'd ever been in my life. But by that time, I was still living for the drug and the drink. So I went to see my doctor, Dr. Calixto Cazano, who I think still to this day was the best doctor I ever had for a PCP, and that anybody could have for a PCP. And I told him, I said, well, you know I hadn't seen you in a while, but you're going to be ashamed of me. I'm hooked on the drug and the drink. And I told him the drug and the drink, and I done what he told me. You know, he wanted me to go to which was called Arkansas Methodist Hospital. It's now Baptist. He said, tell him what you told me, and then someone from St. Bernard's Behavioral Health Mental Hospital will come pick you up, and they'll keep you until they get you in a treatment center that your insurance will pay for. I said, okay. So I did what he told me, and he did it out of love for me. But if I had to do it all over now, knowing what I know now, I would have never went to a treatment center. I would have said, hey, can you hook me up with a drug and alcohol abuse counselor? But I didn't know then what I know now. But he was doing it out of much love, and I thank him for that. His heart was in the right place. But I was overdosed for 3 days down there on enough Seroquel and Depakote to kill probably at least one person. So, you know, it was not meant for me to be there. That's the way I look at that now. But it wasn't meant for me to go to a men's chemical-free sober living once I got out. I don't knock them places. I don't knock a treatment center. I don't knock men's chemical-free sober living houses. But I should have never went there either, you know. When I look back, things don't work out. That's the Lord's way of telling you shouldn't have done it, or you shouldn't be doing it. And you know, I shouldn't have went to a men's chemical-free house. I was made to go to 5 AA or NA meetings a week. I did, but they wouldn't accept me in them halls either. They have a click system in there. The only time they accepted me was once I was getting popular around here. Then they wanted to accept me. By then it was too late, as far as I went. I've been away from there 7 months now, and I'm proud and glad that I am. I don't knock them. They do a lot of good. They do. Chemical-free houses do for men and women, as well as treatment centers. But in my case, it was not good for me, you know. So I wished I'd never went to the treatment center and went and talked to a drug and alcohol abuse counselor and stayed in my tent on the 8 Mile Creek in Paragould, and I would have been doing fine, you know, because I wasn't doing all these things like this commentary, not commentary, like this confessions video and commentary segments and everything else I do before I went into treatment. That come out after I went to the men's chemical-free house, you know, here in Jonesboro. But like I said, I don't knock any of them places. They got a lot of good people in them. It's just that they wasn't so good to me, the way I look at it. That's just me. But yeah, that's what you find out when it comes to drugs and alcohol, that you're usually drinking or doing the drugs because you're suffering depression, stuff like that. Then you see it doesn't work for that. Then you find out later on you're hooked to the drugs or the drink. You know, and that was the case with me. Yeah. But not today. I mean, I'll always be an addict, but I've been clean and sober 2 years as of July the 3rd. So that was half the time that I was an addict. That's going to be about a wrap for this confessions video, confessions number 52. I'm Mr. Ozzy Rose. But I'll tell you a place that really did help me out, and that was St. Bernard's Mental Health Center. And I have a lot of love and respect for all them people there. So until the next time, I hope you have a great Sunday night, everybody. Thanks for always putting up with me. And until then, so long for now, everybody.